Very disappointed. This is what Rax said about Diablo 4 Campfire at BlizzCon.
Hi everyone, it's Rax. I apologize, I'm a little bit under the weather today, but we're still blasting.
Never stop going big dick.
About the Campfire chat, which was supposed to give us more information about Diablo 4. As you can probably tell from the title and from the thumbnail, I am not very impressed by what I saw, and I'd like to explain why. I'm not farming hate views. I'm not trying to just, drill Blizzard. Actually, quite the opposite. I'm actually trying to help. But let me explain to you how it went for me anyway. So the opening ceremony was yesterday. They announced the expansion. Exciting. Said Season 3 is coming. We're getting leaderboards.
Yeah.
Cool.
Great.
And then we have the deep dive in the panel. In between then, we had a bunch of the developers and the game producers talking to a lot of the streamers. I watched all of them. There were some awesome conversations about some different things, and in a lot of the conversations they said, well, let's wait till the campfire tomorrow. Let's get some more details. Yeah. It sounds very exciting. We got to the campfire, and out of the 1 hour presentation, we got almost zero information. First 20.
I agree with them. They should take notes from what Ian's presentation was for Warcraft. Because Ian's presentation was great. All he did is he talked about what's happening in the game, how the game is changing, what are the effects of the game, how it's going to change how you play the game, and it's not about like their process of making it. I think that the main thing people want to see is how the actual game is going to function. That's it. They have no work done to show. Well, then they can at least talk about like some philosophy of like how the game is going to work.
Minutes of just playing the video we already saw, rehashing what we already knew. It showed some artwork from the expansion. That was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then, by the way, let me say something before I dive into this. I love all the panelists, Adam and Joe and Tiffany, all those people that were up there. They did a great job presenting. That's not my problem.
Sure.
My problem is the content.
Yeah.
So Adam would be like, hey, we finally have some info on the new class. Over to you, my friend. And he'd be like, thanks, Adam. Yes, we were so happy to start with 5 classes that you guys were all familiar with around the campfire scene. And then our team thought...
The Diablo 4 and the Overwatch panel reminded me of whenever you had to do a presentation in school, and it had to be 8 minutes, and you just learned that you had to do a presentation 8 minutes before the class started. So it's like you start talking about like the Civil War, and it's like, well, you have to understand that like wars are like a thing that happens over the years. And if you look back in history, there have been a lot of wars in history. And oftentimes, whenever a war is fought, there are losses on both sides. But, of course, the sometimes... one side will win and the other side will lose, and there will be like concessions that happen after that. And there have been a lot of cases where, a war has been, it ended, and then like a lot of things changed because of that. And so like with this war, it's the same thing. Like there were a lot of things that happened, there were a lot of casualties, and like really, I mean, this is just another example of the way wars have been for a long period of time. Because if you look at this war specifically, right, and it just goes on and on and on and on, right? It's better than the Overwatch panel, yes. And I could do that for 8 minutes. It'd be no problem. And, like, how many of you guys did this in school? Like, you at least had one presentation that was that bad. I did. One time, I had a presentation, and the teacher gave us, she said, I'm going to give you $50 theoretically, make a 2-week budget with this. Okay, this is back before Joe Biden. And so $50. And so my friend and I, we got up, and I said $50. He said 50 lottery tickets. And I said, we don't need to budget because we're going to be fucking rich. We're going to win the lottery. And that was the end of our presentation. We got an F. We failed. We didn't win. We didn't get anything done. But like it was a whole week that we just got to chill and not do anything. So yeah, that's my example. So that's kind of the way that I felt about with the panels, right? Is that like these panels, Trainwreck stalls less than that. Like what the fuck, bro?
We add a new class or should we go with an old classic class? And we decided on a new class.
Yeah.
Back to you, Adam. It was just an hour of that, just passing back and forth. Hey, Tiffany, I have this really important question about itemization. What do you think? She says, nothing to announce today, but our team is very interested in this and talking about it. Back to you, Adam. I have left this feedback so many times for Blizzard, and I really just don't understand. I wish that they would be 100 times like
just tell people what you're thinking. Take notes from the WoW team. Like they said, yeah, so we were making the server. Why? There's like this thing that SFan did. It was kind of cool. So we figured like, shit, why don't we do that? Like, you gonna do more stuff? I don't know. Maybe. We'll see what happens. But like, yeah, you guys were right with that. Yeah, it sucked. Yeah, we really got messed up. That was it, right? And it's like everybody that's there, like people get it, because like you gotta think about like the people that are gonna go to BlizzCon and like watch BlizzCon. These are not your average Andes, right? These are the people that care about the game. They're like more invested. So like you don't need to give a PR answer because people are gonna kind of, you know, see around that more. Necro stuff was lit though. Yeah, it was.
Completely different paradigm shift, more bold
off the
in
cuff
their
stuff,
announcements. When your trajectory is going down on season 1, then you have a great season 2. And everything is going up, and it's on the rise. And even the announcement in the opening ceremony was better than every other game except for WoW. WoW had the amazing announcements. WoW was able to announce expansions like 3 years in the future, and Diablo 4 can't even tell us what the seasonal theme is for the season that's coming in like a month and a half or something. I really just don't understand. Your trajectory
I think the reason why they did that is because they don't want people to think that Season 2 is over, and they want people to keep playing Season 2. That's why they held off on making these changes and like these rings and stuff until like later on. They want people to think Season 2 is like still going on, and like they don't want to kind of feel like they're sunsetting it. I think that's the reason why.
The slope of the trajectory is already
not justifying,
trending
I'm just
positively.
explaining.
You had the momentum on your side. If you would have just been so much more bold in telling us.
I appreciated Joe Shelley saying the damage on Tuesdays. I really did. I appreciated him because like he acknowledged exactly what the problem was. He was like, this is it. And I wish more developers would do that. Like, y'all have to remember. You remember Arc Nemesis League and PoE? And Lake of Calandra? Bro, Chris Wilson went down in the trenches. He was there writing out fucking multiple Reddit manifestos explaining why he was right and this is the correct vision for the game and this is what they want to do. Like, he was explaining shit down to a T, and like some things he was kind of right about, some things, you know, we kind of moved away from, like especially with like how much loot was dropping, etc. And like that's what I think people want to see. Because like back in the day, like, you got to remember, like, and this is especially true with, like, you know, late 90s, early 2000s computer development. The guys that made these games were just goofballs. They would say and do stupid shit all the time. It was just, it was a goofball profession, you know, basically. And, like, they worked their ass off. But, like, you know, to the public, it was a goofball profession. And that's, I think, a great thing. Yeah, just chill out. Don't take it too seriously. Just explain what's going on. But yeah, I think they didn't want to talk about Season 3 because they didn't want people to think Season 2 was over.
Really going to do with itemization? Announce rune words. Announce something. Show us the new class. It's already leaked. It's like a Spiritborn class or something. The rest of the leak. Since all the rest of the leaks seem to be accurate, there's probably raids. I mean, just talk about it. Be bold, tell us what you're doing. They did tell us that we are going to get the codex upgrade thing, so that's nice. That's the one piece of info that we got. But it's always this, man. It's always, we're working on it, and we'll tell you 5 days before it comes out. I wish they would be 10.
Yeah, that's the thing is, like, with WoW, like, that's what I liked a lot, is that they said, yeah, we're going to fix this eventually. Like, we don't have it ready now, but we're working on fixing this. Or like it's actually going to happen and this is what we're going to plan on doing. Like, I don't think that, like, I don't need a date for when it's going to happen. I just want to know that things are moving in that direction. That's all.
Times as bold. I was so excited for this Campfire chat. I was looking forward to BlizzCon, especially for the Diablo 4 part. I actually was very interested in the WoW portion. I love WoW. I have 23,000 hours in WoW. That was
That's
great.
A good start.
Now I'm genuine. I don't really like classic, but maybe excuse me, I don't really like retail, but maybe I go back and even try retail and the new classic stuff. That looks cool, but I am saying this to try to help. I'm not just bitching. I'm not farming hate views. I was genuinely, as a fan of the franchise, I was just disappointed, man. Tell us 100 times more. Tell us what you're really thinking. They always say that they have their employees working on so many different things.
What
Tell
are
us about them.
Yeah.
They don't have to be 100% done. And
yeah, I think that's the, one of the deaths of, like, I think that these types of games is whenever these companies are, like, very tight-lipped about what they're going to do. And I think that sometimes, like, having games that are just, like, kind of coming out of nowhere. Like, for example, Elden Ring. There was a little bit of testing for Elden Ring, but not really. You know, they just kind of like, all right, there it is, Armored Core. Okay, here's the game. And also, like, I mean, there have been games like that before in the past as well. But in general, Apex, Apex. Like, I didn't even know Apex was going to happen, bro. Like, and then, like, Shroud and Ninja started playing it. It is what it is.
I've heard the counter arguments a million times. Well, we don't announce that.
It's a PR issue. Yeah, exactly.
Change our minds.
It's a PR issue. Yeah, it's so dumb.
The community hates us. You don't have to tell us something that's in like pre-alpha that you don't want to do. But if there's something that you're working on, we're working on itemization changes. Not final, but look, you could potentially slam this, upgrade this, do that. Here's a new crafting system. Here's rune words. Man, dude. And I don't understand. Here's another thing I don't get. This is not your normal Campfire chat. This is BlizzCon.
Yeah.
This is your event. This is the BlizzCon, the first BlizzCon after you've announced Diablo 4, when you've reversed the trajectory and now it's trending up. This is the big...
I was really impressed, honestly, by Blizzard at how little they said about Overwatch and Diablo 4. Like, that's like professional level, like, they need to start streaming level of stalling.
Moment to go majorly. We already knew there was an expansion. You announced annual expansions a million years ago. We already could guess that it was based on Mephisto.
Sure.
Everything that you announced, any fan of the game that thought of it for 5 seconds could have already guessed. There's pretty much nothing there, man. A message to Blizzard. Please, as a fan, as a content creator, trying to help you, please, in the future, be way more bold with your announcements.
Yeah.
Tell us anything. I'm very disappointed. I don't know. I don't feel good. Maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe I'm just bitchy. I just don't feel good. And
I'm not upset or like angry about it. I'm just disappointed that it wasn't more. I would have hoped that they would have said more. Am I crying about this? Is this a big deal? Am I done with Diablo over this? No, I'm just like, this is just, I wish it was better. That's all.
Very disappointed. The new stuff that they announced that I already talked about later, the new stuff for the season theme, the pinnacle content, they did say that they're working on a lot of endgame stuff. They didn't tell us what it was, but they told us that the endgame stuff is coming. That makes me excited. I just didn't see anything. So I'm gonna stop talking. I'm just very disappointed.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair to feel that way. Absolutely. And they released a little info about Overwatch. I'm satisfied with what they said. Well, I think with Diablo, because Diablo has had a pretty weird, like, few months of, like, how it's come out. And I think especially what's been odd is how, like, seemingly, there's a video right there. Make sure to give it a like if you guys liked it. How seemingly, like, Season 2 was surprisingly good. Like, I was expecting to play Season 2 for one day. Like, I was going to play Season 2, get to, like, level 35 or something, and then stop playing the game. But Season 2 actually had a lot of content to it. There was a lot of stuff going on. And, you know, it was kind of weird that, like, it was such a shift, to be honest with you. It was actually, it was actually good. What the fuck? Like, it's good? How'd that happen? And that's the way I felt about it. So it's like, I want to see more of that. I want to see more of it, and I think that's really kind of the reason why. You played it for 2 days instead? I think I played it for like 4 or 5. I mean, I did everything. 100,000% on point. It was their moment to show depth of what's coming. Yeah. I mean, I'd like to see some, like, you know, at least like some big picture ideas of like where the game is going. Like, you know, crafting on like a meta level. How do they feel about crafting? How do people feel? How's the team feel about like a raid? Like, what if they did do a group raid? What if they had clan challenges in Diablo? Like, are they thinking about this? I mean, there are people that kind of like that idea, a lot of people that don't. Like, seasons are very short. It's an interesting idea to try out. What's going to happen? I don't know. Because I think that, like, one problem that... And like, PoE kind of solves this problem, but they don't really solve it because I don't like the solution. But the problem is a lot of the bosses in Diablo die so fast they don't do anything. And this is the same problem with PoE. And the meta for doing a lot of these fights is to just simply get so much gear that you can kill the bosses before they do anything. I'm not really, like, I think this is kind of a bad way of doing stuff. But either way, the point I'm making is, like, I just want to make sure that, like, I just want to hear that the game is going in the right direction. I think that's all it comes down to for me. And that's what I hope happens.